This back side of your worksheet, it is talking about the nomenclature of covalent compounds. Y'all, nomenclature just means a naming system. Don't worry about like what does that mean. But we got to talk about the molecular compounds and how to name them. So remember, last Thursday we talked about ionic compounds. So if you didn't do that yet, ionic compounds, you have a metal with a non-metal. You name the metal. You don't worry about the numbers in the formula when you're naming it. The non-metal gets changed to IDE, like sodium chloride. That's an ionic compound. Well, these are different because now, okay, bye, Miss Wilkins. So, for example, with these, you have, number one, the elements that make up a covalent bond. These are all nonmetals. So they are two nonmetals. So the answer for number one is two nonmetals. That's what makes up a covalent bond. And I'm doing this on the video, so make sure that you are on task and I don't have to speak your name during the video. So nonmetals, remember, they are on the right side of that little zigzag line on the periodic table. There's not that many of them on the periodic table. So guess what? The electrons, you know how ionic compounds, they make positive and negative charges called ions? So they transfer, one gives up electrons, the other one takes it. Well, covalent compounds are sharing electrons, not dividing, sharing. So they share electrons. They're valence electrons, so let's say share valence electrons. So valence electrons. That's what they are doing in a covalent bond. And then in order to name them, we must use prefixes. For example, carbon dioxide. Di is a prefix for a number. So, I'm going to keep scrolling. Are y'all copying this as we're doing it so you don't have to do this on your own? So to name these, I'm going to do this in a different color. Can y'all see this light blue back there? Okay. So to name these, okay, the first thing you're going to do is name the first nonmetal. Okay. The second thing is name the second nonmetal and add IDE. So these get the IDE ending also, just for the second one. So name the second nonmetal and add IDE. The third and final step is to add prefixes for the amount in the formula, for the subscripts. So when I say subscripts, I'm talking about like if I was to write CO2, it's that 2 right there. That's what our subscript is. So we add prefixes for to represent these subscripts. I feel like that's a better way to state it. Or to show the subscripts. There we go. Okay. So we have to add prefixes to represent what those subscripts are. Pre means what? Before or after? Before. So prefixes are going to go before the name. So the prefix for 1 is mono. What do you think 2 is? Di. 3 is tri. 4 is tetra. Y'all, these are going to be multiple choice on your test. Don't stress over all these prefixes. 5 is like algebra. I'm sorry, geometry. It's penta. 6 is hexa. 7 is hepta. It's a little different. 8, octa. 9 is nona. And 10 is deca. Just copy it. Just copy it. You're good. You're good.
What does that say?
Let me pause this. So part 2 is naming these. So we have to add an exception over here with these steps. Okay? So y'all know how y'all wrote down steps 1, 2, and 3? Okay, you're not going to see one super tricky on your test, but for the practice, you are going to see tricky ones. We can never use the prefix mono with the first element. So never use mono on the first element. And that's such a pain in the rear because now you got to remember the steps, and now there's one exception. Okay? But y'all can do this. So the first one is pretty straightforward, H2S. The prefix for 2 is, I just wrote it down, di. So this is going to be dihydrogen. We just named hydrogen its regular name. And then the O1 doesn't get written in. That's H2S1. Monosulfide. It ends in ide. Good job, Caleb. So dihydrogen monosulfide. So this name means 2 hydrogens, 1 sulfur. Well, that's great, but then we get to number 2, and it's like, don't use mono on that first one. So the second one is not monocarbon monoxide. It is just carbon monoxide. We don't use mono on that one. But I'm trying to tell y'all there won't be one that tricky on your test. If mono is in one of the options, it's not going to give you monocarbon monoxide as one option and then carbon monoxide as another. You're going to have it be more obvious than that. Okay? Okay. So I think you can do the others, right? Oh, we'll do number 3 together, and then we'll look at this side. All right, number 3. Prefix for 2. Di. Di, and then what's in? Nitrogen. So dinitrogen, and then 4 is tetra. O is oxygen, so it changes to ide, so oxide. Now, let's just say you did tetraoxide. I'm not going to take off. You tried to end it in ide. You're good. Your test is multiple choice. It's not going to be off on the name. It's just either did it end in IDE or did they not use prefixes or something like that. They're not going to spell it wrong or something really super tricky. Okay? Thank you, ma'am. Now, I want to go over these because we've got to write the formulas on this side. So on this side, the prefixes tell us what the numbers are in the formula. So silicon, it doesn't give us a prefix. Silicon is just Si. It doesn't give us a prefix, so it's understood with the first one that it's a 1. Because mono is not given on the first one. That should be tetra. So tetra is what number? 4. So that's going to be our subscript for iodine. Okay. So it's Si-I4. Okay. Sulfur trioxide. Who thinks they understand what they're doing? Okay. Who is me? Is that Caleb? Caleb, sulfur trioxide. So what's sulfur? There we go. S and then O3 because tri is 3. Good job. That's all we're doing. And then it's a day. And then we're done. Now, I need to give y'all a quiz. I can do it today or tomorrow. We're always going to procrastinate, aren't we? Okay. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video.